Of course we don't have audio. We should now, though. I have no idea what's going on here.
Of course we don't have audio. We should now, though.
All right, there we go. Now we have audio.
I have no idea what's going on. Of course we don't have audio. We should now, though.
All right, so we are live. We have audio, we're working good, and I don't see anybody in the chat. Well, I was going to give people a couple minutes to file in here, but it don't look like anybody gives a crap to watch, does it? I'm kidding. Go ahead and try to fix up this green screen real quick and mess it up in the process. I think I almost got it. There we go. Now we got it going good. All right. So again, welcome everybody. It's Dark Wolf's Den. I do apologize for the graininess of the video. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Well, I was really hoping people would pop in and see what's going on here, but I'm not going to sit here and chat to an empty chat. Kind of makes it hard to talk to people, doesn't it? Now we got somebody watching, I hope. They stick around for more than half a second. Welcome, stranger, whoever you are. Trying to get, like I said, a moment ago, I'm going to try to give people a moment to actually get in here. If anybody's going to show up. Because it don't get many views after it's up. So if I don't get the message out now, I probably ain't going to get the message out at all. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, well, guess we can go ahead and get started and just kind of move on along. So as you guys know, I've been trying to work on the beginner's guide for the Mandela effect. It's basically just a vocabulary list, you know. Hey, White Rabbit, good to see you, bud. Wascally Rabbit, I like that. Got to put the W on it, Wascally Wabbit. Green screen's still messing up a little bit. Anyway, as I was saying, you guys know I've been trying to do the beginner's guide, and I've almost filled a whole notebook with ideas. But I was writing down some things tonight that just bother me about the Mandela effect, you know? Like we all share the experience of having the Mandela effect. However, we don't all share the same Mandela effects. We don't all share the same Mandela effects at the same time, which is really weird. You'd think if something changed, it changed. And the only one way I can make that work, I guess, is that people just didn't realize the last time they'd seen whatever it may have been. That's the only way I can reconcile that piece of evidence at all. Why do people see the same changes at different times? It just makes very little sense. My green screen's messing up again. If I can get this fixed real quick here. Otherwise, it defeats the point of having the green screen, doesn't it? All right, anyway. Why are they so trivial? Why are the Mandela effects so darn trivial? That's something that I don't get. A lot of them are little bitty things, like the Berenstain Bears, one letter change. It don't make any sense to me. It's almost like a mockery. Like I was watching SMQAI the other day, and he was talking about, you know, wouldn't it be weird if next thing we're going to see is a art museum on the moon. Come to find out, there is an art museum on the moon, guys. You believe that? Andy Warhol is on the moon. Not even kidding. Look it up. Andy Warhol is on the moon. I don't remember that happening. I don't remember that being a thing. Just saying. Then I get to thinking about the shifts. And as much as we know about shifting, we know nothing. Really, define it. Define shifting. When things change, there's not a whole lot to say about that, right? We need to dig deeper into that. Like, is there a pattern to the shifts? One thing what I've been trying to work on theories predict. And these are questions that I've not found answers to, and I don't think anybody's really thought about a whole lot. Like I said, is there a pattern to the shifts? How long does a shift take? Take a week, a day, an hour, a minute? Now, they're not all small effects. Not all of them. Not all of them at all. Land masses moving, that's kind of big. That's really big. But a lot of them are little trivial things. Like, name changes, book changes, logo changes, small stuff. Yeah, land masses and bigger anomalies of history. The bombing at New York. Things like that. That's... I apologize. I was reading the chat here. Wascally Rabbit, which used to be, for those who don't know, White Rabbit. Perception is our individual and shared reality now. Either we are in a matrix, dead, or in purgatory. And I only laugh because I seen that just the other day, the dead or purgatory thing. And I never considered the purgatory option before. That's a good question, though. Good theory. The thing with theories, though, it's got to predict. Not just what or why, but it's got to predict what's going to happen next. If we're in purgatory, what's the next step going to be? When's the next change? When's the next shift? It's things like these as a theorist that really start to get to me. Move this over so I can see the chat just a little bit better. There we go. But how often or how long does a shift last? Some say it lasts a couple of days and they'll have back problems or aches or certain weird oddities. Is it overnight? Is it while we're sleeping? We all sleep at different schedules. I don't sleep at night. I sleep during the day. When do I shift? I don't realize I'm shifting if I shift. I feel like me. I don't feel any different. Things around me sometimes look a little weirder, but I don't feel any different. How often do shifts occur? We can't even define how often a shift will happen, even though we've been seeing it regularly for almost 3 years now that I've been researching it, if not longer. But I know 3 years for me. And yet we can't even define when a shift will occur, how often they occur, what's causing them. Of course, answering the rest of these questions will hopefully get to what's causing them. What is the signs of a shift occurring? Is it pain? Is there something in the sky? Is it the lunar eclipses or the lunar movement? What are the signs a shift is actually occurring? Again, Wascally Rabbit. Studying to show oneself approved, and by studying, don't just mean the Bible, fellowship and learning from others. Absolutely. Studying is much more than just reading a book. I research a whole lot. That could be watching videos. That could be reading. That could be doing so many things. And that's such a good point right there, studying. We've been studying this for, like I said, I know 3 years for me. And there's so many answers we still don't have. And I'm wondering if we're even looking for some of these answers. These things are the things that just drive me batty as a theorist. Why are they in waves? Why do the changes come in waves? Why do shifts come in waves? How long between a shift? How often? What's a sign of a shift? We don't have any of these answers. And that's kind of bothersome. After this long studying it, we still don't even have the beginning of these answers. I haven't seen it anyway. Somebody has these answers, please let me know. I would love to know. Love to know. Hey, Zidata. I've never known how to say your name, but I appreciate you being here. You always watch my stuff, and I really, really appreciate it, bud. You are awesome. So thanks for being here and hanging out with us. Is there a pattern in the changes? Like when there is a shift, does it go map changes, logo changes, music changes, so on? Is there a pattern that we can discern? Is there any way we can tell that something is happening? That's one thing that's been bothering me for a while. We are so lack of answers still. As long as we've been dealing with this, everybody's so amazed by the changes, and I am too. Don't get me wrong. I am baffled by the changes. But I don't think we're digging deep enough and looking deep enough into some of these concepts to really comprehend what's going on. And I'm not trying to, rattle the community or anything, but in all honesty, we do kind of need to buckle down a little bit. And if we're going to figure out what this is, we really need to start trying to figure out what this is. It could be a wall of truth separating, or a wall of lies separating us from truth. Why now? Why is it happening? Why the synchronicities? Why the number syncs? Why? There's so many questions that I still don't have answers to, and I've been wanting to do this for a while. Just put it out there and hope somebody can come back with full cement answers. It could be the wall of truth coming down, but why is it coming in waves? Why is it all of a sudden overnight? Why is it shifting our memory? I get some things can be lies, but I can't scratch off everything I remember personally as being lies. A lot of people ask me, why do I believe in the Mandela effect? And I found a good way last night to really pinpoint this. If anybody's ever known someone with autism, they're very, very headstrong. They've got a great memory. They're savants in what they like. They become a thing. Something becomes a thing to them. To me, and in all of our lives, there are certain things that are kind of like memes in our life. To me, the Berenstain Bears, I learned to read on those books. To me, that became a meme. That became a thing in my world. Something that I would never forget. So when I found out it had changed, of course, I was flipped out. If I never believe in another change in the world, you'll never convince me that it used to be an A. Metaphorically, basically, the walls that we built up around our spiritual selves, just like walls of Jericho and the cities of old used to build. Most of us, yes, but that don't stand for every person affected. A lot of us, but not every person. There's some people that are just as wide open as a book. Some of us that are very closed and private. It varies in everybody. And also, some people say that there's only some of us that are affected. I don't think it's just a group of us. I think it's a group of us that accept it. And that could be where the walls come in. However, there are people like my bosses, for instance. They'll discuss it. They know about it. They're well aware of it. But there's so much else going on in their world. They don't have time to research and look into things like we do. So to say that everybody's not affected, I disagree. I think everybody is affected, and they're either too scared to admit it, don't care enough to admit it, or don't have enough time to look into it. That's just my personal take. Now, that is a good point, Wesley Revit. They can't be taken down all at once, thus in waves. True. None of our walls can be taken down all at once. But it doesn't explain metaphysical and historical retroactive changes. It just doesn't. Physically or mentally and spiritually, yes, maybe. But the changes are retroactive through history. And that just makes it really, really odd. Yes, truths could be coming out, but it wasn't always those truths. Those truths weren't always true. Bernstein wasn't always an A. What next? Again, why are so many of them so small and trivial? Again, landmass changes are big. Things appearing on the moon are big. A sudden attack in New York that blew off the Statue of Liberty, big. Personally likes to know when it started for the majority of people. 2012 for Tracy. After she died without an NDE. A lot of others say the same. People who see it and don't care drive me nuts. Me too. I've been really lucky. People I've discussed it with at least will acknowledge it. I haven't had a whole lot of download incidents. What does it prove is that we are living in a digital world. We're having a physical experience and they're spiritual beings because of the breath of God. Very well could be. And I'm not going to discount God. I'm not going to turn on that. I do believe in a higher being. It very well could be. And I've considered that many times. Maybe it's God. Maybe that's why we can't find a pattern. Because there's no pattern to God. So it could be. You could be right, Wesley Revit. That's a very good point. Back to Tracy. 2012 now is funny because 2012 I started studying Mormonism. And they've got their own kind of version of the Bible. Not very many differences, but some. Very small. Not counting the Book of Mormon, just the Bible. They've got their own Joseph Smith version of the Bible. And I noticed a couple of changes in there, like faith, hope, and charity. That one hit me. I thought that was a Mormon change, sure enough, straight out. That's just something for that church. That's not the way I remembered the verse. Didn't think nothing else of it. And there were also multiple other verses that I noticed were different, but again, I just chalked it up to being Mormon changes. It wasn't until 3 years later when I found the Mandela effect, about 4 years actually, when the Bible changes started coming to light, that it really kind of, made me remember, wait a minute, maybe those weren't Mormon changes after all. I started formulating a theory that the Mormons were behind it, but it didn't pan out so much. They're just victims like the rest of us, actually. Even their sacred book has had some changes in it reported from the Mormon camps. Yeah, those guys don't like to discuss Mandela effect. They really don't like to discuss the Mandela effect. But that's another story in and of itself. 2012 is an interesting year, and I think that could have been a catalyst year. I didn't find the ME till 2015, and when I did, there were only like 4 examples, maybe. So, it took me a while to really formulate a good hypothesis there. Rationally, hey, glad you're watching and hanging out. Appreciate that. I was hanging out in your stream the other day. That was really fun. I enjoyed it. You guys who don't know, check out Rationally 25's channel. She's got a great, great channel. Wonderful live streams. Great information. Like, she's really on to what she's talking about. I really enjoyed it, Rationally. Glad to have you here. All right, back to what I was saying. So, a word of warning to the Mandela Effect community, especially video makers. And I'm not speaking for anybody specific or towards anybody specific, but it's something I've noticed in the community. We need to make certain concessions. We can't be 100% on everything. There's not everything in this world we have knowledge of. And when somebody throws a Mandela effect out there, oh yeah, I'm 100% no matter what it is. We need to be able to say, no, I'm not sure. Which most of this community, I've noticed, this meds community is pretty good about that. But generally speaking, the Mandela effect community as a whole, We need to be careful on what we're sure of and what we're not. If we're not 100%, we need to say we're not 100%. I'll be the first to tell you if I'm not sure about one. Now, I might later remember, but if I'm not sure about a Mandela effect, I'll even put in the comments, hey, I'm not 100% on this, but keep making videos, something like that. We need to make those concessions. Otherwise, we're going to start looking arrogant to the rest of the people around us. We're not all experts on every topic. I darn well know I'm not. There's been quite a few that I've been like, maybe. Victoria's Secret one, I was not entirely sure on that. I was kind of thinking it's too close. Victoria's Secret, that's the S's is too close. So when it flip-flopped, that was very humbling for me. It made me have to take a step back and reconsider a lot of the stuff that I'd been considering. We need to humble ourselves sometimes, guys. I'm not saying everybody does it. I'm not saying we're all guilty of it. I'm just saying we need to be honest with both ourselves and our community at all times. No other place has this been more important than this community. So that's something that's been on my mind for a couple of days, and I really wanted to get that out there. I don't want us to start looking like we know everything and we think we are just the smartest people ever. So keep that in mind, guys. Try to make sure if you're 100% about something, be 100%. If not, be honest that you're not. If you're only 75% sure, be honest. Hey, I'm only 75% sure. It might not be, let's just make sure. That's all I'm saying. The Berenstein Bears, that's 100% for me. I'm willing to concede Nelson Mandela in and of Mandela effect just because of the fake news of the 80s and the multiple reports that would go out without a retraction. And even if it was in the 80s, a retraction wasn't all that well heard. But again, if I'm not 100%, I'll be the first to say it. Cup of noodles. That's one that I was, and I'm still kind of on that one. I'll be the first to tell you. I'm trying to think of certain Mandela effects that I'm sure about. The Monopoly Man. I'm not 100% on him because I think I might be getting him mixed up with the Peanut Guy. I kind of remember him having a monocle. It seems like he should. But that's not that wasn't a meme in my life. So that's not something I can say I am absolutely 110% positive this is the way it was. Australia and the map, yeah, I'm positive that's not right. I'm 100% on that. That's not right. Tracy says, I feel honestly that when I briefly died, I woke up at a different, darker place, and Mandela effects aplenty. The effects I'm 100% on, I feel in my gut. Yes. The ones that you are 100% on, you know it. You feel it. The instant you see it, you're like, no. That's not right. No. Like when I was watching the Back to the Future movie, there's a scene in Back to the Future 3 where Marty's at a shooting gallery. And the way I remember him doing the scene is not the same as it is today. And I'm 110% on that. I felt it in my gut the moment I watched it. And I've had a lot of people agree and I've had others disagree. Maybe I didn't explain it well. That's fine. I probably need to redo a video on that. But it's those things. That's why I don't do Mandela effects. Because if I'm not 110%, I'm not going to put it out there. And there's not a lot of them that I'm 110 on. One of the Wascally Rabbit says, one of the most important things when searching for the truth is the ability to admit you could be wrong. It's the catchphrase he likes to live by. And I fully 110% agree with that. If we cannot admit that we are wrong, then there's no point in acting like we're right. Hey, Andrew. Great to have you, bud. Appreciate you stopping by. What else do I have here? There was a couple of things I was gonna talk about. All the effects. We've got stuff in every single category. And from geography to history to science to music to you name it. I've even seen people say there's some in math. I can't be 100% on that. 100% wascally. I like that. But have we found any patterns at all in the effects and the changes? Have we found any kind of patterns in the shifts? How many shifts do we have a month? Is it connected to the lunar cycle? I'd say we have up to 3 a month. If not 2, up to 3 a month. Not moons, shifts. Can we pinpoint it to certain times of the month? Oh, so many spellings. Dilemma was a dilemma for me. So many spellings I've noticed. And now I've become very super aware of like spellings now. Because I've always been a great speller. That's one thing I prided myself on. Like I said in my video, for those who say it's confabulation, I bet I don't misspell that word. Just saying. It's a pretty big one, too. Oh, see, you think it's 2 to 3. Now, okay, let me go back and ask you and anybody else who's joined us since I said this before. How long does a shift occur? Is it overnight? Is it while we're sleeping? I don't sleep at night. I sleep during the day. Does it have to wait till I go to sleep to shift? How often do shifts occur? What is the sign of a shift? Is it pain? Is it something in the sky? How do we know it's a shift until it's over? Oh, I feel you, Tracy. Need Grammarly now. Was a really good speller. I 100% feel you on that. But how do we know we're shifting? How do we know a shift has occurred besides seeing changes? Why does it come in waves when we see these changes? You feel it in your head. Okay, there you go. See, I don't feel anything. The only way I know a shift occurs is I see a whole bunch of Mandela effects suddenly start to happen. Then I'm like, wait a minute. Something just happened. We had a shift recently. But I don't have any physical feeling. I haven't found anything consistent that I can say, yes, we're shifting now, or right now, or for instance. You know. And for those that can feel it, please let me know when you think we're shifting. Keep a documented diagram of it. Chart this. This is what we need to do, guys. We need to chart every time everybody agrees. System crash. Possible. I haven't checked out a lot of Unamundi stuff. I really need to check that out. People change, our bodies change, and energies change. Okay. Okay. The effects to me never stop. Had chronic pain for 25 years. True. Yesterday around 6. Okay. What I want us to start doing as a community is documenting these changes. Not necessarily the changes, but when we see there's been a big shift, document the date. Next time we see there's been a big shift, document the date and time if you can. Next time you see there's been a big shift and you see a bunch of MEs coming out, document the date. We need to start keeping a little bit better track. I know everybody's so enthralled by the changes, and that's awesome, and so mind-boggled over it. But I'm calling for more people than myself to start keeping up with this. And see if we can't pull together some data that helps us figure this out a little bit more. Because I know behind everybody's thought is, why is this occurring? And I think if we break down into groups, we can really figure this out. But I'm not having a whole lot of luck by myself. Feeling of moving at great speed when you're standing still is one sign, says Z-Data. Birds tweeting outside your window being violently sick. I haven't been violently sick. Birds tweet all the time. I live in the mountains. And I'm not trying to tear these down. I'm just trying to find consistency here. And that's true. We're finding a lot of them all the time. But something I've noticed, Tracy, is is that you'll suddenly have a whole bunch of changes appear. And then you won't really hear anything for a while. Maybe one here, one there, one we might not have caught immediately, you know. And then we'll have a whole bunch of them appear all of a sudden. Then we'll have a couple stragglers, again, things we might not have caught immediately. Please, every time you think there's a shift, guys, I want everybody to independently, and please put this out in your live streams, rationally, Andrew, Tracy, anybody that does live streams, please continue this and put this out there. I want everybody, when you think there's been a shift, to document it. And eventually we can come together and say, oh, we all agree it was on this day, so there's clearly a shift on this day. Oh, we all agree it was this day at this hour. Okay, we can all agree there's a shift that time. Maybe we can start finding deeper patterns than what we found so far. If everybody in the community will help me, I'd really appreciate this, guys. Put this out in your live streams. Put this out in everybody else's live streams. See what kind of data we can pull together. And eventually, so again, spend about, I don't know, a month or two, maybe even a couple weeks, maybe a couple days, however long you think it will take. And every time you think there was a shift, document. And I'm going to try to do this too. I'm definitely going to start doing this too. The 13th to the 15th, there was a shift. I'm sure of that. Between the 13th and 15th, there was a huge shift, and we've had a big bunch of new Mandela effects come up. Had to collate the information. After a while, we're going to compare notes. In terms of infinity, how long is present? Dimensional layers present is the apex of the bow tie. Time is another part of our senses, basically. Yes, I'll give you that. I'll totally give you that. And if we can correlate time together, then we can come together and share notes and go, oh, I see patterns forming here now. I don't know, maybe a month in, everybody come together and say, all right, this is what I've got, this is what I've got, and this is what I've got. And I want this to be independent. I don't want anybody to be affecting anybody else's. If you think there's a shift now or at this moment, write it now. But try not to affect everybody else's, you know, are we shifting? We're shifting. And I'm not going to get too deep on that. Figure that out, you know, however you guys want to. Oh, I love the thoughts, Wascally. Continue. I might not always agree with everything somebody says, but I love you guys sharing. I really, really do. I'm trying to go deeper than what I've been able to go. As a researcher myself, I can only go on certain data. And there's not a whole lot of us out here, theorists, that are really trying to get to the bottom of it. Yes, we're doing a lot of great streams, and we're learning a lot of great stuff, and we're documenting a lot of changes. But I'm also trying to figure out, you know, correlate more data. Yes, exactly. Kind of keep it to yourself till an agreed date and time, and then we'll come together and say, all right, here's the list I've got. Well, here's Andrew's list, and here's Korrie's list. Oh, look, everybody agrees that on the 17th there was a shift. There's clearly one there. Everybody agreed on it. Oh, look, the 24th, everybody also agrees there's a shift. Okay, now we can agree we're getting a pattern here. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, Andrew, exactly. And if you can find a better way to re-explain it on your channel, by all means, please do. Yeah, definitely. So that's all I really have, guys. I just wanted to put that call out there. I wanted to you know, get this information out. Number one, be humble. Number two, if you're not 100% on something, say you're not 100%. Let's not act like we're all experts on everything. I'm not, and I know you guys aren't either. Now, yes, we all have certain memories of certain things, and I get that. And I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying, guys. You know what I'm saying. If we're not 100% sure, let's admit we're not 100% sure. If we are, then admit we are. But let's not be going around in every single category. I'm 100% sure the map and that song and history and this and every effect I'm 100% sure on. I'm not. And I'm pretty sure everyone else isn't either. So, again, let's be honest with each other and ourselves when we're judging these effects, because we're going to end up sounding pretty arrogant if we're not to the rest of the world. So, coming back to CERN. Oh, I had a great conversation with the guy tonight about CERN. I've got to verify this information, guys. If you can verify it for me, please do. CERN in lower level, I guess higher level, engineering journals, though it's not science journals yet. I was speaking to an engineer tonight, and he said that CERN has officially found the fourth dimension. Let that one sink in for a moment. CERN has officially found the fourth dimension. I need to verify that. If you guys can verify it before me, please do. But I was talking again to an engineer tonight who's high in the field, who's been working in the field for many years, who follows the journals and whatnot, and he was explaining a lot of stuff about CERN that I've been studying it for a while, and even I was like, whoa, really? No, it's not popular, but I keep coming back to CERN, damaging the delicate nature of superposition. Yes, I'm big on that. And the blinking universe, too. But then I get the numbers constantly, 222, 333, 444. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 11, and 9, 11. Those are my three numbers. I don't know why 1, 2, 3, 4, but that for the last year or so, that's popped up. You're very welcome, Wascally Rabbit. I make it a point to. Says Ed Dark and friends, love you all. Thanks for sharing your thoughts without judgment and browbeating each other. Yes, that's something I make it a point to do, is make sure I'm very open-minded to everybody. I don't like browbeating somebody. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't like doing that. And I'm so glad this community doesn't do it either. It's an amazing community as far as that goes. Some of us we've got in common, you know. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 off and 2. Very nice. That's been my number sync for a while, and I don't get it. I don't know why. I really don't. But perhaps there's something in that. 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, so that's that. That's all I have for tonight, guys. Rabbit, you need to change that to Wabbit. Rabbit, I appreciate you stopping by, bud. You have a great night. Get some rest. It's really been fun having you here. I love people who share insights that I don't think about or haven't considered. That is always amazing to me. I'm going to wrap this up. I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Andrew or whoever goes on next, please share this. Get this going, guys. I can't be the only one doing this, or it's not going to work. So this has been Dark Wolf from Dark Wolf's Den, from an undisclosed location in the top of the Rocky Mountains, in the beautiful Pacific Northwest of the United States of America, on the planet Earth, in our crazy solar system that sets in the Orion spur of the Milky Way. Remember always, guys, stay awake, but dare to dream. Thanks, everybody.